4% increase in profit before tax for the half year to September. Titus Naikuni, the CEO of Kenya Airways, joins me now from Nairobi. Titus, thank you so much for joining us today. A 67% increase in pre-tax profit, a fantastic number that has come through. We've seen an incredible increase in passengers when it comes to Africa, but also on a global level. So all round the industry looking better. What drove profits up much higher this time? And of course, operating margins also looking stronger, sitting at around 3.5%.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last.
Your operating margins also looking much stronger. So what contributed to the gains this time around?
There are two things. First of all, in terms of revenue, I mean, we opened up quite a number of new routes. We also increased our frequencies. And we managed our revenue collection very well. And the second thing is around costs, because we deliberately this particular year put a lot of emphasis on looking at our own costs internally. So those two areas combined produce the results that you've seen.
Of course, the Soccer World Cup here in South Africa assisted in the increase of passengers, not only to South Africa, but to the rest of Africa as well. What kind of impact did the event have on your top line?
The World Cup had a positive impact, although not very significant, because remember, we put in quite a bit of capacity into the route, but it's only one way. So, you know, when you come back empty, you lose out the benefits of a full aircraft going down. Nevertheless, it cannot be ignored. Now, in terms of the percentage impact, it's not quite significant when you look at our own total revenue.
Looking at your available seat per kilometre, that increased by 3%, full operations into new destinations as well. So you have started to expand even further. Where do you see those ASK numbers going forward?
I can see that ASK number going up again in the second half, because we are opening further routes. We are also bringing in extra aircrafts during the second half. So I can see that number going up.
Just looking at your revenue passenger per kilometre as well, that also increased quite significantly and 9.3% higher. It seems that IATA is saying that we are going to see some good returns for the airline industry this year, sitting at around $8.3 billion. And people say that it is going to start slumping in 2011. Where do you see things going from here, given the fact that Brent crude is not too far away from $90 a barrel, which is obviously going to increase your costs, and you're going to have to pass that on to the consumer in some way?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you can't sort of generalize the industry worldwide, because we have different markets that we serve. If you look at Africa, the investment that is coming into Africa from China and India is quite significant. And we're seeing a lot of traffic flows from that particular region of the world. If you also look at what has happened in Africa, the political situation in Africa has changed for the better. And that is what's encouraging a lot of investment. And we're also seeing quite a bit of tourism coming up in Africa as a result of the political stability in the continent. So I am still bullish that in 2011, you'll still see traffic within Africa and between Africa and the rest of the world growing. Africa is still a high growth area, I must say.
Okay, high growth area. Let's look at these numbers. I mean, we know that US airlines are going to come out with a profit this year. European airlines not doing that well. We know that there's overcapacity still in the likes of the Asian airlines, and that's we are starting to see a bit of consolidation coming through as well. Here in Africa, a different story.
Sorry,
as you say.
I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me now, Titus? Titus, can you hear me? Let's try again. Titus, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, fantastic. Let's try that again. US Airlines set to make a profit this year.
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. US Airlines set to make a profit this year. European airlines are going to come out with a loss. Overcapacity still coming to the fore in Asia. Of course, competitive environments are starting to increase extensively. But when you look at Africa, we're still seeing a lot of expansion coming through. What kind of growth prospects lie ahead for the African continent? Because one of the big issues right now is the fact that we don't have enough infrastructure to cope with the increase, of course, in the airline industry and also the passengers that come to the continent.
I think what I see is I still see a potential for double-digit growth in Africa. And although we don't have the infrastructure, the thing we've got to do is to be smart enough to try and utilize the infrastructure that is in. What I mean by that is that if you look at right now in the destination that we fly into, we only have single frequencies. And that does not encourage travel as much as people may want. And hence, I think what we should be doing now is looking at increasing frequencies to particular destinations. Of course, that is also affected by the aeropolitics around getting bilateral air service agreements with various countries. But that's the way I see Africa going.
Well, that's interesting when you're talking about bilateral service agreements, you're talking about single frequencies as well. How much money do we need to see pumped into the airline industry as a whole in Africa so that we do start competing effectively?
Sorry, I lost you on that one. I didn't hear you.
Titus, looking at bilateral service agreements, as you alluded to, single frequencies as well, how much money do we need to see pumped into the airline industry in Africa so we start competing effectively?
It depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking at pumping in money into airlines, I mean, you're looking at, to me, and this is a guess, you're looking at close to about $5 billion. If you're looking at the infrastructure, I wouldn't have a number for the infrastructure. And unfortunately, the two go together. You can't go and put in money into the infrastructure if you don't have aeroplanes. You can't go and put money into aeroplanes if you don't have the infrastructure. So you could be looking at, what, maybe $10 billion? I don't know.
Okay, well, obviously a double-edged sword there. Looking at your fleet, also increased. You're sitting at around 29 this year from 25 last year. One of your biggest challenges that you do say is coming to the fore is aging aeroplanes as well. We know that you are on the path of getting new planes. Just tell us about some of your challenges going forward with regards to the Boeings that you are using at this point in time.
The challenges that we face going forward are fast. The challenges we face going forward first is the infrastructure, as you alluded to, because infrastructure in Africa is wanting in some areas. The other one is the aging aircraft, and we have a number of 767s that are due for replacement. The challenge we've had is a delay of the 787, which we've now been promised that will be out by May 2013. You know, when I say out, it will be delivered to us by May 2013. We can still survive with the aircraft we have until then. The other challenge is availability of pilots, because pilots, as you know, are very expensive to train. It takes a long time to train them. And the rate at which we've been growing has been faster than the rate of production of pilots. So to me, those are the three key challenges that lie ahead of us.
And of course, you have started, increasing your pilot headcounts as well. Let's just touch on costs as well. You know, you're talking about containing costs going forward. Fuel prices starting to rise quite extensively. We do know that the dollar-shilling exchange rate is currently sitting in your favor. Operating margin sitting at 5.8% versus the likes of BA, which is sitting at 6.7% operating margins. You know, tell us about how you're going to juggle all of those three factors so that your airline is more profitable down the line.
Going forward, we'll still try and use the same strategy that we've used in the last 6 months, and that is utilizing the pilots that we have efficiently and utilizing the infrastructure within Africa that is available to us to the best of our ability. And at the same time, we'll continue training pilots. We have an ab initio program that we have. The first 6 months, we've taken on 31 of them for training, and they happen to be in South Africa. And in the second half, we're going to get another lot coming in. So that's how we intend to operate in the second half.